What time is it there?
It is now 2 p.m., 2:02 p.m.
That's it. It seems like you've had a whole long day.
Well, my life is a little chaotic, so
Yeah.
I generally don't get to bed till 4 o'clock in the morning. So
Wow.
because of
Wow.
all the stuff that goes on, so
Yeah. We
my
can
day
talk.
starts a little later, but
I would like to know more about all that you do because I know you're doing things. So,
I'm doing things. A lot of it is not. I don't do a lot of podcasts and don't put a lot of
yeah.
videos out. So, but
Oh,
it's just been very busy and
yeah.
uh, so there are some situations that cause challenges when you're trying to do videos.
Mm,
Yeah.
hmm hmm So we're live now. You look
Oh,
great. Background
oh,
is
thank you.
great. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Chai Together. I am your host and founder, Pratik Day. Today, you are tuning in for your cup of chai, courage, hope, and imagination. So we use courage to showcase the stories on this platform. We use hope to overcome and imagination to resonate and understand what the stories being shared. So with mindfulness, I would like to introduce Mr. Anoush Khaze. Is that right, Anoush?
That's correct. That's correct.
Cheers. Thanks.
I got my mug.
Aw, you're
I'm,
adorable.
I'm not having chai, and it is coffee.
Hmm
The doctor told me I need to cut down on how many cups of coffee I have. So I figured if I have one cup that's really big, I'm still following doctor's orders, right? I'm not
You're
having a
too
lot of
funny.
coffee.
You're too funny. I also have Tulsi tea. It's not chai.
Ah,
It's just Tulsi tea from the brand Organic India. Do you know it?
oh, I don't know a lot of teas. I most of it because of my heritage and my background. Now, I should probably know more because my
Mm.
grandfather was a tea merchant.
Oh wow.
So I should know more about it. But I really most of the tea that we drink is black Persian tea. So
Mm.
my heritage is my grandfather was from Russia, and
Mm.
my mother's side is Armenian. So my grandfather, my father's side, he was a tea merchant in
Oh
Russia
wow.
before the fall of the czars and before the communism in China. In Russia, he used to go to China
Mm.
and bring tea. So he was travel and so on. So that's why I should probably know more about tea, but
Mm.
he'd probably be disappointed if he knew I didn't know much about tea.
Oh my gosh. I like that. So your ethnicity is just Persian.
Well, my ethnicity, my background, as I said,
Mm.
my heritage
Mm-hmm.
is Armenian and Russian. That's what it is.
Wow.
Before the communism came to Russia,
Mm.
my grandfather once the communism started, they started going after everybody who had money, anybody who had a
Mm.
business and stuff. They're confiscating things. So he sold everything that he could, and his family basically they moved from Baku, Azerbaijan, which was part of Soviet Union at the time, became part of Soviet Union in Russia. They moved to northern part of Iran,
Wow.
and with his family, and then they from there the family stayed in Iran.
Mhm.
My actual heritage is not in Iran. It's not We're not from there, but kind of transplanted
Mm.
from there. So and then we went on from there. My mother, her heritage is Armenian. From Armenia, they had gone to northern part of Iran, to Tabriz, of Iran, and then down the line, my father and my mother met in the capital city in Tehran, Iran, and then
Yay.
and that's where they were. So they met, and that's where I was born. So I lived good part of my youth, my until about 15 years.
Mm.
I lived in Iran, in Tehran, and then uh, immigrated out. Went to England for a year, then came over here to the United States when I was 16.
Wow.
So I've been here a while, been 45 years actually, coming up this September.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's big. And I want to say we match.
yeah, oh yeah,
Blue is the color, it's the wave.
yeah. I love the color of that hat. It's really
Thanks.
outstanding.
It's my bachelor's university hat. Mhm.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
congratulations. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
I'm in grad
Yeah.
school now.
Oh, moving
Going
up.
on going all the way to PhD.
That's
That's the
wonderful.
goal.
That's
That's the
wonderful.
goal. Let me tell the viewers a little bit about you, okay?
Go right on ahead.
All right.
Platform is yours.
Yeah. So Anoush is an inspirational and transformational speaker and resilience coach who specializes in working with those who want to make a change, overcome obstacles and challenges, and need to support structure and inspire and motivate in order to make things happen. His expertise in personal and business resilience comes from facing and overcoming a combination of both personal and professional challenges and experiences of nearly 4 decades in the fields of finance, information design, business development, and network marketing. Anoush is a first-generation immigrant with an Armenian and Russian heritage, as he just told us, who came to the US at the age of 16. After college, he worked with many sectors of the corporate world. He spent nearly a decade working in the financial industry with some of the biggest firms, and with some of his past clients are among the Fortune 500 companies. He also spent more than 20 years developing successful businesses in their information design field and network marketing. After leaving the corporate world with developing multiple businesses, he wanted to do something that was more personally fulfilling and something that combined his strongest skills with the deepest passion. Inspirational speaking and coaching seemed like the answer, since so many times he had coached others in both their personal and business life and helped become more resilient and inspired them to set and attain larger goals. How does it feel
Thank you.
hearing all that about yourself?
Well, it's, you know what it is. It's part of my life. So it's not
Wow.
something unusual. You know, I mean, that's stuff that you go through whenever you look at the bio or whatever it is. It's part of your life. It's something that you go through, and sometimes you really have to look back and peel a few layers to look at it. And sometimes you look at it and say, geez, you know, I went through a lot of stuff. you know, and sometimes you look back and say, man, it's sometimes it's hard to believe that you survived so much that you have survived.
I can believe
And in some cases, I listen to some people's stories, and I am in total awe of how resilient some people are. And part of it, in my own life, my resiliency, part of it was I was an only child. I never had an older brother or older sister to look out for me. You know, I always so I had to. It was me. Fortunately, I had a cousin who he was much older than me, and he was at the time he was a brown belt in Taekwondo. So he taught me a few things about how to protect myself against people who, you know, might want to harm me. And growing up in Iran, it was a nice country when I was living there. You know, things have changed quite a bit, and it's not so much the people that changed. I mean, the governmental affairs and stuff, things that people come into power mess things up, and that's true all over the world. It's not just over there. But when I was growing up, in that culture, it was quite different because because of my heritage and my background, the way I was raised, I was a lot of times often a little bit of a target, you know. And growing up, I had to learn to stand up for myself. Fortunately, there were a few people who helped me along, like my cousin. I was a kid young. I was in elementary school. I was being picked on quite a bit by some of the neighborhood kids. But there was one guy who's standing in my mind. His name was Ali. He was probably at the time he was in his late teens, maybe 17, 18 years old. And he looked out for me. He helped me out. You know, and those are the people that stand out in your mind. People who get your back. People who stand up for you and help you out, and teach you a few things on how to protect yourself when stuff happens. You know, those are the people who always resonate and sticking in your mind. And I had to learn this. Yeah, I didn't have any older brothers and sisters to look out for me, but I had to learn to be resilient. And also part of resiliency is sometimes part of it is in you, because you're just stubborn and you say, I'm going to deal with this thing. I don't care. I'm going to do it if it kills me, if it's the last thing I do on the face of the planet. And some of it is also learned because of so much outside influences that we go through. You know, in life, if you are not resilient, if you don't learn resilience, life will knock you down to your knees and keep you there. But you have to learn how to become resilient, and it helps if you do that, if you learn that at a young age.
Mm.
Sometimes kids are they say kids are resilient, but sometimes kids go through a lot of stuff, and you can see that, unfortunately today in a lot of we see it more, not because it wasn't there before, but because of what we have available to us today, the internet, the connectivity is there. We see a lot more of it today. We're more aware of it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
We're more aware of it today than probably 40, 50 years ago. It was still going on, but we see more of it today. Because of my upbringing, I was always taught to be. I had a lot of cousins. My cousins were all girls. I was really always taught to be nice to girls and to treat them right. And although in a lot of the Middle Eastern countries, women are treated as second-class citizens. They were not treated equally. They're always looked down upon, and they always treated as subjugated, if you want to call it that. But I wasn't raised that way, because I had a lot of because of my upbringing. I was always nice to girls, and the boys in school always bullied me about that. Always, oh, you've been playing with the girls. You're playing with the girls and all that stuff. So it was, the resiliency had to be there. I had to learn to be resilient. And as I grew older, I realized that, you know what, maybe it was something instinctive. And sometimes when another kid was needed help, I always wanted to help him out. And that carried through forward in my life. I remember when I was 15 years old, I went to England, and I wanted to stay there originally. And it was a nice country, but it was always rainy. I never particularly cared for that. It was always not kind of a climate I wanted to stay in. And went back to Iran. 16 years old, wanted to come to the United States, and I had to sleep in front of the American embassy overnight just to pick up my application. Now, I know a lot of people go through a lot of challenges trying to change their life and just change the settings. And I'm not saying that my life in Iran was bad. My father always provided. He was always a good father in terms of, he's always there, working very hard. A lot of times going to taking on assignments and jobs on projects that took him away from months at a time away from home. That he had to go to the certain parts of the country because of projects that you go there and it's like, how do people live here, right? He worked for a construction company that did big projects. They installed compressors for gas, to push gas from Iran to Russia. He worked on big dam projects, and they were all in parts of the country that literally there was no infrastructure, And so he worked very hard trying to provide, and because of that, it was very difficult for him to always be there for me, not from a perspective of being a good father or anything, but it was just physically being there. So a lot of it was left up to my mother, and me and my mother, I was going to school, and of course, she was trying to handle a whole bunch of stuff in the household and other affairs. And when I got my visa to come to the United States, I came here. Although I had studied English ever since I was in kindergarten, all my teachers were British. I come to the United States, and the lingo is different. And I'm having to say, am I speaking English? I mean, why can't I understand some of the things people say in here? But so it was a little bit of a challenge there. But trying to integrate to a new society, to a new thinking, and then being a teenager. Look, I was a teenager, you were a teenager. We all know kids can get really mean.
Yeah.
They can get real nasty sometimes. And not because of the fact that they want to be mean, but because they're dealing with a lot of pressures themselves, and that's the only way they vent out, against other kids, because they want to be included in a certain group. As a result, they pick one person and they go after them. So I had to deal with integration into that respect. And a couple of years after I got here in 1977, late 77, 78, there was a revolution in Iran, and they took hostages the American embassy. And now I came from Iran. And every person who came from Iran, no matter what they believed, they were suddenly being villainized.
Wow.
So again, resiliency come into play, that you have to kind of learn to bounce back from situations.
Wow.
All these experiences kind of leads up one to the next, to the next, to the next, and become stepping stones in developing resiliency at a higher level. Because you can be resilient at one level, and you can get hit with something bigger, and now you have to either raise up or it will crush you. Right? I mean, I heard a lot of your story, a lot of stuff that you went through. And you know what? I don't have a hat. You have one. I don't have a hat. If I had a hat, my hat's off to you. You've gone through some stuff. So I understand that, and I respect you tremendously because of that. Okay, because all the stuff that you've gone through. So having gone through all of those things, after college, I started working in the corporate world. I started working for a law firm, and from there on, because I wanted to be a lawyer, I wanted to be a district attorney in the beginning, but then I realized, you prosecute the wrong people, they can come after you. So, well, it's true. Then I decided to change some of that. My goals changed as I went forward, and I started working for different companies. And work in the financial sector, work for some of the larger firms. You got the Pioneers and Putnam Investments and so on and so forth. And that arena, that taught me a different level of resiliency, working in the corporate world. Because when you work in the corporate world, you have your goals, they have their goals, and sometimes they don't quite mesh. That's not your personality. I think I got some of my grandfather's genes in me. He was an entrepreneur. He always wanted it. He had his own, he was a tea merchant. And I think some of that genes flowed into me, because I never felt comfortable working for somebody else. Actually, after so many years of, going into this corporate world, I never felt comfortable in there. I eventually left and started my own company, my own business. And I tried along the line. I tried a lot of different ventures, a lot of different projects. Some were okay, some didn't work. And every time, so you build something and it doesn't work. What happens is what I've run into today with resiliency. A lot of people are, the challenge they have is fear. Fear of failure, because they don't want to feel that they failed. They don't want to feel like a failure, because they don't want anybody else to call them a failure. But the reality is, all these people, there's good news for all those people. You can never be a failure. Period. Failure is not a characteristic, it's not a trait, it's not something you can be. You cannot become a failure. Failure is an event.
Wow.
Failure is an event, and it's always in the past. If you had a failure, it's in the past. It's already, you already had it. It's done. It's finished. You can't do anything about it. The only thing you can do is to learn from that failure. I mean, look at Edison. How many times he tried to build a light bulb and it didn't work? 10,000 times, right? So, and when they asked him about it, he said, I didn't fail 10,000 times. I found 10,000 times things didn't work. I tried a lot of different businesses. It didn't work. So you can never be a failure any more than you can be success. Success is also an event. You achieve success. You can become successful, but you can never be successful. You can never be a failure. Now, the thing is that a lot of times in school, what we're taught as we grow up is they teach us a certain thing, right? They teach you, you go and learn, then you take a test. And when you don't score well on a test, and some kids, as I have found out, some kids are just not good test takers.
No.
They don't test well, but they know the stuff. They sit. My
Mhm.
daughter is 31 years old. She's not a test taker, but she knows the stuff.
Mm.
When it comes to a test, she gets all nervous, all sweaty. She can't take the test properly. So in schools, you learn something, and then you take the test. In life, you take the test, and then you learn from that test. You do something.
Mm.
Okay, you start a campaign for your business. You make this mug, and
Yeah.
you put it out there.
Yeah.
If it doesn't sell,
Mm-hmm.
you find out, maybe I didn't market it properly. You learn from that lesson. If it doesn't sell, maybe the design wasn't good, maybe the quality wasn't good. But if it's a success, you learn something. Hey, this worked. Maybe not. Maybe I can use this somewhere else, right? So you learn from the test that you've done or taken in life.
Mm.
School is a different thing. And the problem becomes with a lot of why the fear of failure comes, because unfortunately, our school systems teach that. What
Mm.
happens when you take a test in elementary school or high school, whatever, you don't, and you fail? You get 50 or 40 on the test. They hand you this paper with a big red letter F on it,
Face down.
right? It's big letter. It is fail. I mean, you look at it, it's like, won't anybody see this, right? But the reality is that failure is actually a badge of honor. I tell you
Mm.
why. Every failure is an accomplishment. When you try something and you fail, you accomplish something. Means you had the courage to try,
Woo!
which is a big thing. A lot of people don't even try because they're so afraid they won't even try. And that's why it's important to acknowledge a failure as an accomplishment. Years ago, there was a movie that came out. It was a
Mm.
uh, animated Disney movie, Meet the Robinsons.
Mm.
Okay, this guy travels into the future, sees his own children and grandchildren and so on, and this entire family, a whacked up group of people trying to invent stuff, and they always fail. When they fail, they throw a party.
I love it.
Okay, because they said, hey, you found another way that this thing won't work. Basically a process of elimination, right?
Mm.
So whenever we fail at something, we need to change our mindset and our thinking of how we look at things. You know, it's a matter of how you look at something. It makes a difference. If you're looking at a project you tried to do and it didn't work, you look at it as a, oh geez, Bob, it didn't work out. Boo hoo hoo, and mope about it for a week. Well, that's going to put you down. But if you look at it and say, well, this didn't work, where did I go wrong? Where did I didn't take the right step? Maybe I should have,
Mm.
maybe I should have talked to somebody. And that's where coaching and mentorship comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's where coaching and mentorship comes in. See, you can love yourself to the point that because of all your, for what you are.
Mm-hmm.
But a coach and a mentor can love you to see you for what you can be. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's the difference. I mean, what you provide right now for your audience, you put this podcast on. You work. I don't know how many hours. I know this is like a third or fourth podcast today, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of people don't realize how demanding that is.
Mm-hmm.
The planning of it, the whole setup, and then sitting there and talking to people and listening to people,
Mm-hmm.
and putting this whole thing out and following all of these things. Being a business owner, being what you're doing requires a lot of resilience on its own, never mind what you went through in the past.
Yeah.
And you have to be resilient, and why you're doing it is the reason you're doing it is your why, because you want to go out there and make an impact. You want to help people. You want to bring content to people that can help them out from a step. One of your previous podcasts was a young lady who was a therapist, and she's trying to get out there and teach what she knows through her podcast that she's going to launch. Why? Because she's trying to reach other people, and that's a demanding on its own. Every time when you're a business owner, you're starting a business, you're starting a project, it takes faith, it takes courage, it takes perseverance, it takes love and passion for what you want to do to get out there. So every one of those things that you do is takes a certain degree of resilience. Some of it is innate in you, some of it you have to learn, and a lot of it comes down to the mindset, comes down to your thinking, comes down to what you learn, and the coaching and the mentoring that you get along the way. When I started years ago, I remember this back in early 2000. We had my twins, my boy and the girl were twins, and we were thinking, okay, gee, we need a babysitter. How are we going to do this? And we tried to interview babysitters who actually would want to babysit twins. Not every babysitter would take twins. It's not an easy task. So we decided, well, I wonder, and that was ever since I had like email address going back in '84 when emails first came out. So I decided we need to maybe we can start a business of putting babysitters online, getting babysitters to be online, right? So got this domain, AmericanBabysitters.com.
I like it.
Somebody had the database, we bought the database, we put the stuff together, we did it. But we were a little bit ahead of our time for the technology that was available, because there was really no way to it was very difficult trying to get babysitters verified. They all had to get CPR and licensing, and getting some sort of a bonding, some sort of something for people to trust. Internet was new. People really weren't into internet as much, especially parents. They're looking at somebody on the internet. Who is this person? I don't know this person. How am I going to trust this person with my kids, right? So it was kind of new. We were ahead of it. So that didn't work out. Okay, we learned a lesson from that. We were a little bit ahead of time. Maybe we should wait a little bit or whatever. Now we have care.com. You have all these other businesses that come
along. The nannies, yeah.
You have all these different services. So you learn from that.
Wow.
I learned quite a bit. I learned quite a bit from people who are my mentors. People who I was fortunate enough. I was fortunate enough to come in contact with people who were wise, who were experienced, who were kind enough to give me some of their time, because that is time is a very valuable thing, and most people don't realize it, and they squander it or they disrespect it. It's very important to realize when somebody, even if you ask somebody a question and they stop that, answer your question, and give you help with that, it's very important to put value on that. My father used to say, you can be very respectful of people when they give you their time, because when somebody, you can take someone's money and all you got is their money, and they can replace that. It's not a big deal. You can take someone's property and all you have is their property, because they can go replace that. When you take someone's time, you're taking a piece of their life. They can't replace that. So if someone is giving you a little bit of their time, they're giving you a piece of their life that's irreplaceable. On top of that, if you ask them a question, you're asking for guidance, you're getting their wisdom, the time that they spent to acquire that wisdom, and they're giving it to you. So that's something that's valuable. You can't replace that. You have to appreciate it. You have to respect that. So that's why we try to be on time for your appointments, because people, you can't disrespect people being, or canceling an appointment. You got to give people enough notice so they can, know what they're doing. That's being respectful. That's being respectful of their time and their life, because they can do something else. I mean, let's face it. If I couldn't make this appointment today, right? If I gave you advance notice, right? You could be going. You can say, you know what? I'm going to go sit outside and have a cup of tea and chat with a friend, right? Just relax. If for nothing else, you could be sitting down watching a mindless show on TV, and that would be time better spent than coming here and finding out I'm not here, right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
have to prep for it, right? You have to get ready for it, not only physically but mentally, emotionally. You have to get prepped for it. That's
That's right.
valuable. So that's where that's where the respect comes in, and respecting
Wow.
people's time. And these people, some of these people that that my friend was Jim Agar. He just been my mentor. He just recently passed away not
Mm.
too long ago.
Wow.
And I have another mentor, Steve. He's a wonderful guy. He's
Mm.
dedicated many hours talking to me on the phone for various
Wow.
things. One of my mentors, actually, you may have heard his name. He was the guy who, in Atlanta, in 1983, he had the big Georgia Dome event, which Les spoke at. So I'm familiar with your fine state. I've been there a few times. I had wonderful Georgia peaches, by the way.
Wow.
So yeah, so these are the people who, when somebody gives you their time and the mentorship, it's valuable.
Mm.
It's really valuable. And some of when we go through life, again going
Mm.
back to resilience, you can have an event that has a failure, and if you have enough faith, you have enough creativity, you have enough belief in yourself, you
Mm.
can go through it. And sometimes people look at something and say, "Well, I can't do that," and I can't do that because I don't have enough knowledge, I don't have enough education, I don't have enough of this, enough of that, and they try to rationalize it
Mm.
why they can't do something. Now let's break down. I say rationalize. Now let's break down the word rationalize.
Mm-hmm.
It's ration. What's ration? It's a small piece, right?
Wow.
When
Yeah.
you have food rations, when you have
Yeah.
war and there's famine, there's food rations. So it's a small
Yeah.
piece, right? And then you have lies,
Mm.
small lies that we tell ourselves, and we rationalize why we can't do something.
Wow.
Simply because we don't have, sometimes we have a little bit of faith, but we
Mm-hmm.
need someone to have more faith in us than we have in ourselves. Somebody who stands there, so you say, I don't know if I can do it. Of course you can. Yeah, go ahead, try it. What's the worst thing that could possibly happen?
Mm.
You end up exactly back where you are. That's the worst thing that can happen. But look at the upside. Then somebody stands there and gives you, they have enough faith and enough love in themselves for you to give
Mm.
you that. That's where the coaching and mentorship comes in. Somebody stand there, believe in you more than you believe in yourself.
Mm.
And then that comes back into mindset. Okay. I have a book that's coming up in probably next month. I've been
Oh
working,
wow.
and it's just been I have a very kind of a weird life situation going on. I have resilience is part of my daily life, and that's
Yeah.
how I know. I teach what I know. It's part of my daily life. I have a wife who's disabled, who I need to.
Wow.
I do that. I have a 98-year-old mother. I have a 15-year-old son who's been locked up for a year. He's going out of his mind, just like any other teenager, right? Trying to get out there, and can't wait to be able to get out there. And so, because of the way my life is, I have
Mm.
to be resilient, and I put in practice what I teach. I don't teach
Wow.
what I know, because if you do that, if you're trying to teach something you don't know, you're going to hurt somebody,
Mm.
right? Because that means you're saying something that you never practice. You have to, if you gotta preach what you practice. You gotta
Wow.
preach. You gotta teach what you know. If you haven't been there, you haven't done it. You can't know. You can teach people about all the stuff that you went through because you went through it. You've been there.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody
Mm-hmm.
says something, you say, "Oh, I've been there. I know how to do this."
Mm-hmm.
If you ever had a if you ever had a car that died, and you
Mm-hmm.
jumpstart a car. You see somebody with batteries dead, and you try to jumpstart. You have never jumpstart your car. Don't try to jumpstart it because probably blow up their battery, right? It's just like that,
Wow.
and that's the attitude that you have to go through life with,
Mm.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, and I say your attitude
Mm.
is like a flat. Sometimes your attitude is like a flat tire. You can't move forward and left until you change it.
Wow.
If you have a bad attitude, you have a negative attitude, you have to change that. And then it comes back again to mindset. The book
Hmm.
that I have that's coming up is called Mastering the Battles of the Mind.
Hmm.
Because 95% or more of the battles that you face in life
Mm-hmm.
is fought up here first, in the 6 inches between your ears. You have to, if you believe, if you go into a situation believing that you're not going to win, you're not going to win.
Mm.
I don't
That's
care
right.
what you got in your hand. The perfect example is David and Goliath,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
David went to battle against this guy. Now everybody says it was like 50 feet tall or whatever. I don't know how big it was, but it's obviously bigger than David, right? It doesn't make any difference. The
Mm-hmm.
point is that here's a kid going up against this soldier who is much bigger than him. He's got a
Mm-hmm.
shield, he's got a helmet, he's got armor, he's got a big sword, and here's this kid showing up with a slingshot. He went in that battle knowing he's going to win.
Mm.
Period.
That's right.
You know, and the guy
Believe.
who had the big sword, he didn't, because he probably thought, what's this kid doing? I mean, he's got, my dad used to tell me if somebody ever threatens you with a big rock and say, I'm going to take that boulder and hit you over the head, don't worry about it. He'll
Mm.
never do it. But if a guy shows up with a pebble in his hand, you better start worrying, because he's probably going to throw it at you.
Mm.
The thing is, in life, and the lesson to learn from that little story piece is that in life, sometimes the people who talk the big talk necessarily don't have what it takes,
Mm-mm.
because they're never going to carry out. But the guy who says, I'm going to take this little thing and I'm going to do this project, I'm going to do that project. I mean, you started with your enterprise over there. You
Mm.
started originally just doing a few podcasts, and then you get more podcasts. More. So now you got your cup, and next one you have your T-shirt that's coming up.
Yeah.
It's like it's just one thing after another. You're building step by step, and if one thing didn't work, you just take a step back, move another step forward, and that's how resilience is built, on little steps, on little failures. Sometimes we build steps and build resilience in all of those.
Mm.
So that the resilience is not something that happens miraculously overnight. Sometimes it takes time, just like anything else.
Wow.
Just like anything else, you become more and more resilient. It's
Mm.
kind of like your mental immune system, if I may say that, right?
Ooh.
The mental immune system, because you become more resilient. But when the baby is born, a
Mm.
lot of times in some countries, I don't know how it is in India, but in Armenian culture, they
Mm-hmm.
keep the child indoors for 40 days. They don't take him out.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason they don't take him out is because the child's immune system is still building,
That's
right?
right.
Still building up. So by just exposure to family members who have limited contact, their
Mm.
immune system is slowly building up. As they get older, they become more immune because they get more exposed to other things in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep somebody indoors all their life, away from all the outdoor elements, their immune system is going to be very weak.
Yes.
So the more you get exposed to these outdoor elements of bacteria, viruses, and so on, the more immune you become, because your body slowly builds up, right? And obviously, you have to feed your body the proper things: nutrition, the right vitamins, new supplements, or whatever it is you're taking, good food. Which,
Mm.
unfortunately, in the United States, we don't have a lot of high nutrition food. That's why we need all the supplements we all take.
Yeah.
So, but in countries like India, you heavily rely on your agriculture because you have fresh food. In other
Mm-hmm.
countries, some other countries, the same thing.
Yeah.
And those things feed your body to help build your immune system. Your
Mm.
brain is no different. If you keep your brain sheltered and you think that, oh, I'm not going to expose myself to anything that can possibly cause me to fail, or I'm not going to expose myself to anything that's going to possibly harm me mentally, your
Mm.
mental immune system and resilience is not going to build up. All the stuff that you have gone through in life, that you go through, and anybody who is, if you go through difficulties and challenges, stop looking at it as something bad. Start looking at something that's helping your mental resilience and
Mm-hmm.
your mental immune system. Because now, if something like that happens again, your brain, you know how to deal with it. The first time somebody cheated you out of in a business deal, next time somebody else comes on with something similar, now you know how to deal with that. You say, no, thank you, have a nice day, right? You learn from all these. So it builds up into, so brings up to the next thing that, okay, if you are building resilience, you have to feed your mind the right stuff, just like you need to feed your body the right stuff. You eat 3 times a day. How many times a day do you read? How many times a day do you read the right things, right? The good stuff. How many times a day do you listen to good, positive, be it audio or video, whatever it is, content, to feed your mind the right stuff? And how many times a day do you actually listen to your inner self-talk? Because sometimes we can get really mean on ourselves. Sometimes we can be our own worst taskmasters. Beat ourselves up over the past things that didn't work, right?
Right.
And that's all part of mental resilience. That's all part of how to build resilience. So it's when you start talking down on yourself, you got to stop yourself. And that comes from practice of mental resilience and how to become resilient to negative self-talk. Because that's another important part of you building yourself up. These are all when you look at different segments of it, it may look they're separate, but they're all part of the same thing. And that's all. Everybody who you look at that has huge success in life.
Yeah.
And success is not limited to money. A lot of people, you talk about success, and immediately people think Bill Gates, right? It's not always about money. You look at anybody who's been successful in any avenue of their life. Doctors, surgeons who have done miraculous surgeries that you never would imagine. Our past health, the Secretary of HUD, he was a brain surgeon previously, and he did brain surgery on an infant in a mother's womb.
Wow.
Okay. So the guy, you want to talk about somebody who's got dexterity, he's got the success mind, but somebody who's been successful at something, and that's not the only thing that you can be successful at. You can be a success in life in anything you pursue, and it's not always measured by money.
Wow, I really like that. Yeah.
So any of these things, when you're looking at all of those things, it's important to realize how far resiliency goes, because it's all tied into each other. How you feed your mind, how you be able to put up with the stuff that happens in life, and you learn all that, and then self-talk is, again, like I said, it's very important, because we beat ourselves up. I mean, you just imagine when you're going through. Some people, you probably met some people who something happens to them and they talk about it for weeks.
Yes.
And they go on about it. And I had an event with this, like with one of my relatives, and he was having gone through this thing. He kept on talking to us, and I said, "Look, let me explain to you what it is. Just picture yourself walking through a pasture, beautiful flowers everywhere, good smelling flowers, and you put your foot and you hear the squish. You stepped in cow manure, in cow poop, right? In the pasture, right? Now you have two options. A, you're resilient. You wipe your feet on the grass and say, okay, I know that's there. I'm not going to step there again, right? And I'm not going to watch where I'm going now, because I know if this was here, that cow passed through, here's going to be somewhere, right? And then you wipe your shoes and you continue on your work. Or you can stand and say, oh my God, I stepped in this thing, and oh God, what is this thing? And oh my Lord, where did this come from? And then you go, oh God, it smells bad. Oh dear Lord, hey, come on, everybody, come and look at this thing. It smells really bad. And you go and touch it. Oh God, it's this. And then you go on about it, or talk to everybody who's walking by there, telling them about this thing you stepped in. And sometimes in life, people do that. When an event happens, when you're resilient, you learn from it, you wipe your feet, and you keep on going.
Yeah.
If you're not resilient, you stand and wallow in crap. At least. I mean, that's what it is.
That's a really great example. I've never heard one. And you're a great actor too, with the voiceover and all. And I want to ask you, because I'm all about resiliency too. And when I come out with my book, it's going to be about that. And I really like the fact that you're talking about resilience, because I would always ask myself, like, how did I become resilient? And you explained it. It's like, you know what I mean? Step by step. And I had come to know that, it's like something bigger, bigger, bigger. And then, my greatest loss was, my twin children last year when I had my abortion. And I was like, I thought to myself at that time, if I hadn't been through physical abuse, molestation, like all different other things, I possibly wouldn't be able to cope so well with this abortion. It would have like really took me down. But since I am so resilient, I just took it head on, and I was in shock, but as normal as you can be. I wasn't sitting around crying about it or anything. You know what I mean? It's like one more thing that just happened to me. So do you feel like people who, don't have this resiliency are the ones who are committing suicide, right? Like it's the end of the world to them if one thing happens, because they've never encountered this before. What do you think?
Well, there's several things that I believe.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a number of different reasons why people go to the extreme.
Yeah.
One is lack of hope.
Mm-hmm.
Because they simply do not believe that this is going to get any better. They just don't see a way.
Mm.
When you're walking through a fog,
Mm-hmm.
all you see is the fog.
Wow.
You see nothing else. You can't see 10 feet ahead of you. Right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You don't know. For all you know, you're walking towards a ledge and you don't know about it. Right? And sometimes what happens, people who are in that fog, they get so paralyzed, they simply cannot move. And they feel that I'm going to be in this fog forever. Part of it is because of, as we grow up, things change in our lives. When you have a child, when you have a kid, like with my kids, when you have a toddler, right? They get up and then they start walking, crawling. Come on, that's great. They crawl and then they stand up. And say, come on, that's great. And they fall. Oh, that's okay. Come on, go try again. And you help them, and they try again and they fall. And if you don't panic, they're going to look at you. You're laughing. They laugh. They get up. They fall. Look at you. You're laughing. Come on, get up. They get up. Now, in life, what happens is as we grow up, because of the fact that people start getting punished for failures, and this starts in school, right? You didn't take this test, you didn't learn F, right? People get afraid of failing.
Wow.
As a child, as a toddler, when they fail, they try to walk, right? Falling is a failure event, right? But they try again because we encourage them to try again, to fail again, try again, fail again, try again, fail again until they're able to walk. Then they start running and they fall and they get us, oh, I got a boo-boo here. That's okay. Come on. We'll just clean it up, put a little bit of Band-Aid on it. Come on, let's go. Go out and play.
Wow.
And as they grow up a little bit bigger, and they say, with my kids, when they were growing up, and I had twins, and sometimes one of them knocked the other one down. It was like that. My son has always been bigger, and he was, my daughter always, antagonized him, and eventually he would lose his, just gonna knock her over. The point was like, okay, you okay? Okay. Are you bleeding? No. Did you break anything? No. Go back to play. Right? So that's, if you go through life in that methodology, on that way, you're going to build resilience. You're going to learn, hey, nothing broke. I'm not dead. It's okay. Tomorrow is a new day. But sometimes people don't go through that. People have, all these people who fear monger them, and they teach them in fear how to live in fear. And the minute that the big thing hits, they don't know how to react. There was a study done by KGB, and that's the Soviet Union secret police, for those of you who are too young to remember Soviet Union. Okay? The KGB was like their secret. They did a study that if you take a group of people or an individual and tell them repeatedly the same thing for 3 months under fear condition. You create a fear and you tell them the same thing over and over.
Mm-hmm.
You can, after that 3-month period, you can tell them you can show them all the evidence you want that fear was unjustified, that this thing was not true. They will not believe you.
Wow.
It is
It's all about.
that's how embedded it gets into your head.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with that mindset, when you are taught to be fearful of things, or you don't build resilience as you grow up, it can become that situation. For some people, that's what it is. They see the fog. All they see is the fog. They don't see anything else. Now, same person in the fog, they see a headlight in the distance, a faint headlight, nothing much. That's hope right there.
I love it.
And now they see the headlight. Now okay, I have a direction to go. I know there's something there. Now that headlight may very well be a locomotive for all they know. They don't know what it is, but they have hope. Right? They have hope. People who take the ultimate, put a permanent solution to a temporary problem are the ones who basically don't have hope. And that's where coaching, mentorship, friendship, somebody who just willing to listen comes along. And understanding your own self-worth. A lot of people who commit suicide, they basically think, so what am I worth in this world? What's the big deal if I'm not here? They don't realize the impact that they have or they can have down the road. There was a young man who left his work. Left his father's house, went to his dad and said, Dad, and this is a true story. Said, I'm going out. His father thought there was something off with him. So, are you all right? So, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm fine. He went out, got on the bus, and he's going in San Francisco, heading towards the bridge. In the car, in the bus, sitting, thinking about ending his life. And he's sobbing. A couple of people in the bus were looking at him. They're like, what the hell is wrong with this guy? Right? What's he crying about? You couldn't tell. He didn't have any deformities. He didn't have anything wrong with him. Physically, he was a fit young guy. Nothing seemed to be wrong, right? On the surface. Inside was a turmoil going on. He gets out of the bus. All the while, this is his story. He tells you, there's a YouTube video about him. You can look him up. He gets off the bus. He's hoping that somebody would ask him, what's wrong? What's going on with you? Why are you crying? Nobody did. He got up onto the ledge. He went to the ledge, backed up, jumped up, and went down the side of the bridge, right? As he's going down, he realized his mistake. I said, oh, God, please save me. Please save me. Well, he hits the water. He's broken many bones because, as you know, if you're coming up with that speed, you hit the water, it's like hitting a rock. It doesn't make any difference. And he's praying to help. A seal comes by and helps him. And he grabs onto the seal. And and people notice him, and they come and they bring and rescue him. They save him eventually. So the seal basically just helped him stay afloat, not go under the water.
Wow.
Today, that young man is counseling others in suicide prevention. Right?
So good.
You don't know what lives you can impact. What's going to come? You don't know what's coming. Right?
That's right.
And the lives that you can impact. So anybody who's, all these people who think about that, they are not seeing that because they're in the fog. A movie I came out, this was the old movie a long time ago, and I think I covered it in one of the video that we did for your channel. It's about a man who wanted to end his life, and he meets his angel. And the angel was in trouble himself, but because he was incompetent. I don't know how angels can become incompetent, but that's the story in the movie, right? And the angel shows him what life would have been without him. All the lives that he had impacted on everybody that, that would have been, the guy who he helped, he would have become a criminal, and the lives that had been impacted. So sometimes in life, we don't know. And when you're in that fog, and that's when people take, that measure. And resiliency comes from when you are building that resilience, you're better equipped to deal with when you're in the fog. Now you know, I was, last year, I had this problem, and hey, the help came along, so maybe another help will come along. Or I dealt with that problem. If I can handle that, maybe I can handle this. Maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'm not going to take the ultimate measure. Maybe I'll just, maybe I'll call my friend and talk to him. Maybe I'll reach out.
That's right.
And if they know that there's someone that people care, you see that there's something that one of my mentors says, that people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care.
That's right.
Okay. You can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you don't care about anybody, you don't show caring, you don't talk to them, you don't reach out to them. If you see something is wrong, I was going to get some groceries yesterday. There was this guy standing in the corner of the street, and he seemed like he's talking to himself. He was really agitated. I rolled down the window and said, "Are you all right?" He said, "Yeah, I'm fine. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. But if you see yourself in a situation, you see somebody that might be in trouble, it doesn't hurt to just ask, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" Now, you may not be the person to be able to help them, but you might be the person who's stopping them from taking an action that could be detrimental, that could be final. I don't know. Maybe that guy was at the moment, maybe he was thinking about stepping in front of a bus. I don't know.
Yeah.
But me asking him, "Are you okay?" shows that another human being cares.
That's right.
Gives him enough hope, gives him enough resiliency not to do it. You don't know, right? So I think resiliency is not only built by our own actions, but by actions of others in our lives.
Wow.
Right?
So great. Yeah.
You just stopping somebody who's maybe sitting on the corner. There are a lot of people in hard times today. People in hard times today. And sometimes they're just too proud to ask. They feel already down, and said the only thing that they have is a shred of dignity, and they don't want to lose that. So if we can take just time for a moment and ask, "Are you okay? Do you need any help?" We helping them have hope. By having hope, raise that level of resiliency a little bit higher. Maybe just a notch. It's maybe not much, but it's just a notch today. And I'm not saying that everybody should go out there and start doing this. "I'm going to do them. I'm going to 100%. I'm going to go do this thing." Look, you don't have to do 100%. Even in your own life, you don't have to give 100%. I see people who just talk about it all the time. They say, "Oh, I'm going to go give this 100%. When you put the bar that high up, it's easier to fail. Because you physically, mentally, emotionally may not be ready for that. Right?
That's right.
Never mind having 100%. Why don't you just give me 51%? Just give me a little bit past the midpoint. A little bit more than you have today. Maybe tomorrow you get 51%. That 51% is a little higher than today's 51%. Right? And that's how you build up your mental fitness, your mental resiliency, all of those things. And maybe somebody needs a little bit of help in mental fitness. You have mental fitness coaches.
Wow.
Right? That they can help you with that. Resilience coaches who can help you with that. And as coaches, you're a coach, I'm a coach, we all coach with people and stuff. It's important for us to realize when somebody's out of our sphere of knowledge, of our experience, and to be able to point them to the right person. If somebody was going through what you went through in life, I was talking to them, I would say, "You know what? There are things that I can teach you, but I think you'd be better talking to Pratibha because she has gone through that. I haven't. She can guide you through this better than I can because I haven't gone through what she's gone through."
That's right.
And it's important to realize that and not let her get our pride in the way. And not only in our own life, not let our pride in the way, but also not let our pride get in the way when it comes to helping other people.
Wow. You just dropped like diamond level gems, like diamond level, like even like platinum level information today. And I do want you to share your YouTube with everyone because I still watch your videos and like rewatch them because they're really helpful nuggets, you know, and they're short videos.
Yeah, I mean, I do short videos, and the thing is that a lot of people, I'm trying to see if I can get this.
Mhm. That's okay.
If people can just go to anoushkhaze360.com,
Yeah.
all my links are there. My YouTube channel is there, and people can go and watch any of the videos. And you can subscribe to it. I appreciate it. My mission is not to try to create a lot of videos, but I realize videos today, we live in a world that videos are important. People watch them, and people can benefit from that. So it's important to, people can go back and look at it and listen to it or whatever.
Yeah, I do. It helps me. Is this correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That you go to that, and it's all connected to all my websites are connected in there. My social media is there. You can link to any of those things. Again, because I don't produce a lot of videos, mainly because of my own circumstance. I realize that I have to be if I'm going to tell you something, I have to be at my peak to give you my best.
Yes.
I don't want to put something out there that is half done.
Yes.
And generally, if it's late at night for me to do it, it's going to be more challenging.
Yeah.
And if I can't give you my best, I'm not going to put
Yeah.
just something out there for the sake of putting something out there,
Yeah.
And it's, that's my choice. It's okay. I mean, different people do different things. I know whenever you do something, you put your best out there because I see your videos and interviews that you do. You do a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Well, you see, here's the thing. I've always kind of credited myself with one thing in life, and that's been I can tell. I've been able to tell a person something about whether or not I want to interact with them going forward, and be able to tell about somebody whether or not there's somebody whether somebody's up to no good as well as somebody who's up to good. Either way you look at it, And I heard your story in the beginning, and I could tell that you are the type of person that's very sincere, authentic. You put your best foot forward all the time. You try to deliver the best content you can deliver. And I'm not saying that because I'm your podcast. I'm saying that I truly believe it. From the beginning, that's how I felt about it.
Wow, thank you.
And I support what you're doing because you're definitely making an impact. You definitely are changing lives, and you're putting it out there. Now, the reality is some people will take it, some people won't. If you're walking in the park and you're thirsty, somebody comes up and gives you a bottle of water. If you don't drink it, you're still thirsty.
Yeah. Right? It's like, no, I want it in a cup. It's like it's water.
That's the bottom line is you are putting the content out there. You are giving people something that can benefit them. If they don't take it, they don't take it. You can't force things down, on people.
No, it's not for everyone.
No, it's not for everyone. Sometimes people are not ready.
They are
not ready.
Yeah, for it to trigger their own or to hear about these topics because they're just not good within. Like they're too sensitive about it. Yeah.
Well, it also comes, sometimes what it is that, again, goes back to resiliency. You have to be able to face yourself.
Very good.
You have to be able to look at the person in the mirror.
Yes.
And say, you know what? You screwed up. Right? You were supposed to do this. You didn't do it.
Yeah.
You screwed up. Now what are you going to do about it? Right? You have to be able to face yourself and not be so wrapped up. Oh, geez, I'm this. There are people who are so wrapped up in their education that even when they hear the simplest concept, they can't accept it because it's not in alignment with what they learned.
That's true.
The reality is that the education that you get in life
Mm-hmm.
through experience, through all the stuff that you go through, is far more valuable than whatever you learn in the classroom. My mentor, one of my mentors, Dexter, would say, a man
Mm.
with experience is never at the mercy of a man with a theory.
So good.
It is, if you have experience, all the
Mhm.
stuff that you learned, I can
Mhm.
guarantee you, all the stuff that you learned in school, and you can get your degree in
Yeah.
whatever field you're
Yeah.
getting your degree in. I'm not
Yep.
saying they're not valuable. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that education is not good, but
Mhm.
not to get disillusioned by the fact that, oh, I have this degree, therefore I know more. I can guarantee you, I can take somebody who has got 2, 3 doctorates from a
Mhm.
college, and I'll
Mhm.
take them to streets of Boston in winter, and I say, "Give me your wallet, give me all your stuff. Now I want you to survive." He won't be able to. He or she won't be able to.
Mhm.
But the guy who I met many years ago, I met this guy in the streets of Boston. When me and my family, we used to sometimes go out there and we like cold days because it got really cold in Boston. We would
Yeah.
go out there,
Oh, yeah.
Go to Burger King, McDonald's, get some hot coffee, some meals, and go give it to these homeless people because it really gets bad. It can really get cold.
I know. I've been there. It's so bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really brutal.
Cold. Oh my
But
God.
this guy, who every time we went there, he would go back behind the Boston Public Library, and he would be sleeping on the grids, on right there's some metal grids in there, and he's sleeping. It's like he can go to a shelter. He's freezing his buns off in here. Well, until the first time I took a cup of coffee to the guy, and I'm walking up, and it's like, whoa, it's warm in here. What's going on? It's the heating system from Boston Public Library. All this heat coming up from the grids. He's sleeping on those grids.
Smart.
Guess what? It didn't take a PhD to figure that out, but he's figured it out and he's surviving there. But you know, so that's what I'm saying. Life lessons
Mm.
are far more valuable than what we learn in school.
So good.
I learned a lot of stuff in school. Most of
Hmm.
it I don't use.
Me either.
It's not. It's just not applicable in life, right? I mean, I took calculus. I can't tell you the last time I used calculus was probably in the classroom. So all that stuff that you learned, that you went through school, all the challenges that you learn in life, going all the challenges that you faced,
Hmm.
starting from the first time you bounced a check because you didn't balance your checkbook, right?
Hmm.
To all to the car accident that you had and you had to fill out the form for the insurance, which you've never done before, right?
Yeah.
All these little things in life that you learn teach you. My
Yeah.
daughter, when she moved out, and she moved out and went out on her own. She got married. She moved out. She had an accident. Guess who
Wow.
called? Guess who she called first?
You.
Me. Why? Because she's never had an accident before, right? So it's important to be today. If I have a challenge, who am I
Mhm.
calling? My mentors,
Your mentors. Yeah.
right? I'm calling them. So with that, that's where you have mentors, and you have to have coaches who you can call, you can reach out to when you run into trouble, whether it's in your personal life, if you have a life coach, or you have a business coach, you have whatever, doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Those are the people you call
This
to
is
get
incredible.
guidance.
Well, you've been my mentor, I have to say, for the last 8 months. I mean, I've been seeing your
Wow.
content.
Um,
No, your videos really, like, I really watch them, and they really help pick me up, like on those days, not less, not someone else, like coming from you.
well, I
That
appreciate
says a
it.
lot
Thank you. That's a wow factor for me.
because just right now, like, this was like a coaching session. This was like a wealth of knowledge, that people pay for. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Appreciate that. I try to. One of the things that I encourage everybody to do, and I
yeah.
encourage everyone to do it. When you go out there in the world,
Mhm.
put your phone away, look up,
Yes.
and look at people.
Yes.
What's on your phone, what's on the internet will be there for eternity.
Hmm.
It's not going to go away. That's why what they say, once on the internet is forever on the internet, right? That's what they don't put anything you don't want your grandmother to see, right? Don't put it out there, right? Put your phone away and look at people.
Wow.
See people. When I go anywhere, I go to a store or whatever it is, I try to bring a little smile to people's faces.
Oh, yeah.
People go through a lot of stuff. I mean, especially you're talking about a grocery store. You're a cashier at a grocery store. How arduous is that? You dealing with people who are not even aware of your existence.
That's right.
Right? Because they come and they go, they pay for the stuff and they leave. Right? Look up. Look at their name tag. Hi, Stephanie. How you doing today?
Yes. Wow.
How's your day going? You okay? Everything all right? That's wonderful. And if you are a type of person who can tell a joke or two, make their life better. You know, people ask me, I ask them, how you doing? You know, and they say, well, I'm doing fine. How are you? I said, well, I'm kind of like the guy who fell off a 20-story building. So what do you mean? I said, well, so far so good. The guy fell off a 20-story building at the 13th floor. Somebody heard him say, so far so good. Hasn't hit bottom yet, so he's doing all right.
Oh my God.
Laugh about that, right? And it's just a little pick me up, something. It's not, it's not a.
But they may remember that, for when they go home.
They remember that somebody called them by their name, right?
That's right.
What's the sweetest sound to a person's ear?
That's right.
Their name, right? You call them by their name. I go to the pharmacy. I have a CVS across the street. I do get a lot of prescriptions because of my wife. I pick up a lot of prescriptions. Hi, Rigo, how you doing? How's your day going? Oh, thanks. He's busy filling 1,000 prescriptions. These guys fill up these CVS pharmacies, especially chain pharmacies. They fill out thousands of prescriptions a day.
Wow.
They're standing on their feet all day long. It's a hard thing. Not to mention all these people are coming in nowadays with COVID and everything that's been going on. People coming to the pharmacy to pick up prescription. You don't know if the guy what he's got, right? He's got a prescription. You're trying to stay safe, but nonetheless, I mean, they have that in the back of their head. They have the prescription make sure. I had a friend of mine who was a pharmacist. He retired at the pharmacy. He's my mentor now. He used to be a pharmacist in Somerville, Massachusetts. And he said when this was like years and years ago, this woman came into the pharmacy and says, I'm pregnant and it's your fault. And he said, what? Well, she had, she got the pill, and for whatever reason it didn't work because she was blaming him. And he's like in the middle of the pharmacy, all these customers are looking at him. It's like, what is going on? So people in this, and back then they used to get robbed a lot because all the narcotics weren't locked up. So he's like, he put a name tag in here, and they said that's where they pointed the gun at to get to rob you. So in that kind of environment, these are people who are working. Today it's not as bad. They don't get robbed. In some areas they still get robbed, but these are people, and there's a frontline workers, if you will. I was going into a store, and there was this guy. He was an armored truck guy. He was carrying a bag, obviously full of money, and he has the bag in one hand. He has his hand on the gun.
Wow.
Well, I'm like thinking, you need to get a different job. Your hand is on a gun to protect somebody else's money. It's not even yours. And I said, oh, by the way, my trunk is open if you want to put it in there. He started cracking up laughing because he knew I was kidding, right? So that's what I encourage you to do. When you go out there, try to be aware of other people's situation and maybe bring laughter, just saying hello.
Yeah. That's how I was, Anoush, you said I'm sincere, and I've always been this way. Like Larry, from our program says I have pure energy. And since I was young, I always even talked to the homeless people. And I even made a status like 7 years ago when I was like 20 years old, that young, right? And to be wise and say, ask a homeless person their name. I've given flowers to a homeless person, given a hug to a homeless person. Like, that's the kind of person I've been, right? But I can definitely resonate with that, and I do the same. And I want to share this message. I don't know who it's by. Please say your name. They said the first time to be listening to a live chat with Pratibha Day to someone so full of inspirational messages from you. And I think this is Rusty. I believe that's his name. Yeah, that's awesome. So yeah, Anoush, you are the first live I did that was like full of super inspirational, like breakdown of resiliency and why, how, all of those things. So yeah, so you're coaching on resiliency now, right? That's what you're
Yes,
doing.
that's what I do, because I think it's important for people to, especially in today's environment.
Mm-hmm.
Over the past year, a lot of people, including people who are business owners,
Mm-hmm.
people who had jobs, who were in different companies,
Mm-hmm.
people who are right now looking down the barrel of losing their home
Yeah.
because of the situation that's going on.
Yeah.
It's impacting people in a way that people were not prepared. Let's face it, a lot of people got hit on the side of the head,
Mm-hmm.
like getting hit with a 2x4. Didn't see it coming, right? Out of
Yeah.
nowhere. And this really took down a lot of people emotionally, mentally,
Mm-hmm.
and subsequently physically.
Mm-hmm.
If you are an active person, and,
Yeah.
and you are busy out there going working, whatever, going to workouts, going to gyms and stuff, for the first 9 months of the year, these people were trying to figure out what the heck happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because every time it was like the thought was that, oh, it's going to end. Oh, yeah, it's going to end. Well, it's not ending. It keeps on going. This is just keeps on happening. And finally got to a point where they said, okay, well, I mean, there's some decisions made by politicians and government officials or whatever that was kind of insane, but let's leave that alone. That's a whole different topic. But the issue was that by the time people realized what they can and cannot do, they
Mm-hmm.
had sustained a great blow
Mm.
mentally, emotionally, physically.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it's important. I know people. I was just the place that I go for a hair to get my hair cut. I
Yeah.
just stopped over there to get some, go to the grocery store next door, and the young girl, her name is Stephanie. She comes out, and I said, "Hi, Stephanie, how you doing?" So, hi, it's a good thing I saw you because I go there all the time. Said, "Oh, we're closing this location. We're closing."
Mm.
So what happened? He says, the rent is too high. We just can't keep on paying it. We have to
Wow.
go somewhere else. Or where are you going? Well, I don't know, but I'm going to be at the, in Encino store for a while until we figure out what we're doing.
Wow.
I know another barbershop that closed down. They opened up the barbershop in early 2019.
Mm.
They got hit with this. They just couldn't sustain it.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
a lot of businesses are like that. People who have put their life savings in things, and now they're losing everything. Yeah, they're giving all these different PPP loans and this loan and that loan. That's really is not something that's going to really help them out, in the long run, because people invest hundreds of thousands of dollars. Running a conventional business, a brick and mortar business, is an expensive proposition.
Mm-hmm.
Time. It not only takes time, but it also takes mental and emotional investment
Mm.
into that business. Some of these people that, if you have a restaurant, my dad used to, when we came here to the United States, my father came in here. He's a CFO of a major construction company in Iran.
Wow.
We came here, and then a few years later, he followed us. He had to he decided, by the advice of somebody, he bought a grocery store,
Yeah.
a convenience store.
Mm-hmm.
He would go there. He would get up and go about 4 o'clock in the morning. He would go to the market to pick up stuff and bring it to the store to open up at around 6 or 7, so he can have coffee and everything ready for the place to run his own business.
Wow.
And he wouldn't get out of there until 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Oh my God.
Okay? long hours. 1 year, I helped him do it. I was helping him with his taxes. I looked at him like I said, Dad, I don't know what you think what is. I know you take some stuff home and you get some cash and stuff, but based on these taxes, you make 25 cents an hour.
Oh my God, that is not worth it.
The point is this, that he was his own boss for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I firsthand saw what that did to him, not only physically. I mean, he liked talking to people.
Yeah.
My dad was a Baha'i. I was Baha'i faith, which is a lot of them are persecuted in Iran today because they're not,
Mm-hmm.
because the government sees fit to do so. But he talked to a lot of people about his faith. Store, and that's what gave him energy to do it.
Wow.
But later on, as came down the street, Star Market, which was a big supermarket chain, opened up down the street. Lost a lot of his business. After a while, he couldn't sustain it. He ended up having to sell it to somebody else, bought it, who eventually they closed up and never for his money. But that's a whole different issue. The point is that so he lost a lot of time, a lot of money, and then he ended up having to work for another company, managing a gas station for Texaco. He took his job with a lot of pride, but I could tell that took a huge emotional toll on him. Here was a guy who was a CFO of a major corporation building. He had thousands of people reporting to him. Thousands and thousands of people reporting to him, and here he was. He couldn't. He had to go and work for another company, and it really took emotional toll. And a lot of people are in that similar situation today. People who were working for big companies now they're gone. The jobs are gone. It's laid off. Now they have to do something. And going back, it seems to them like, okay, if I go and work for McDonald's or if I go work for Walmart or whatever, it's what do I do? What do I do? The first thought the first that comes to mind is not, oh well, maybe I can go teach somebody how to do, maybe do a management coaching, maybe do executive coaching. Because it's a foreign concept. Because that's not what their life was about.
Wow.
And it's a challenge for a lot of people, who lost their job or whatever, company's gone or whatever. A lot of companies today, you're going to see it down the road that a lot of companies are not going to be having offices anymore. Because now they shifted away from that and said, why do we need this building for?
Online.
It's online. So, but that's the effect of that is like everybody keeps on laughing at a trickle down theory of Reagan economics, but it's true. It works both ways, right? Now the company doesn't need the employees to work from there; they work from home. You bring it back. Now what happens to the commercial building? Who are they renting it to? Who's paying the expenses of the commercial building? They have to lay people off. The company who owns the commercial building, right? Because they don't have tenants. Who pays the mortgages? What happens to the loans that are being defaulted on? It affects the banks. It just goes on, right? So it's not a single layer problem. It's a multi-layer problem. It's affecting a lot of people, and we're gonna see that going forward. That's why people like you and emotional fitness people who deal with these traumas and stuff, people who've gone down this road before, are so important, because we can literally go out there and put that light out. Hey, you in the fog, come on this way. It's okay. You'll be all right tomorrow.
Wow. This is so inspiring. This inspires me to do my release for Try Together, something I want to release, because I was going to do it at another time, but there's never going to be a best time. You're supposed to do when the pressure is on anyway.
Well, the thing is, like, what you're doing is not that different than having kids. Something. It's not. It's a lot of people. You see what happens. A lot of people say, what, we're going to get married. We're going to wait until it's a better time, until we have more money, until we have a better job, until we have a house, until we have this. There's never a right time to have kids. There's never a better time, because you know what it is. It's the reality is you always have stuff happening.
That's right.
Right. You're always going to walking down that pasture. You're going to step in poop.
Mm.
If it's not that one, it's the next one. It's something else, right?
That's right.
And if it's just never a right time,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, yeah, things happen and you have to delay things. Sometimes you have to delay things.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, if you can do it today, do it today.
Mm.
You know,
That's
don't
right.
wait for tomorrow.
Mm.
Perfect example. I mean, you look at this stuff that's happened in 2020. There are a lot of people who didn't wake up the next morning.
That's right.
There are a lot of people who didn't wake up this morning.
That's
You
right.
don't know what's coming tomorrow.
No,
You know
it's a hit or
what's
miss.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that they say that yesterday is already gone.
Yep.
Tomorrow is a promise, but hey, who knows, right?
Right.
Today is the present, which is a
Mm-hmm.
gift. Which is a gift.
Mm-hmm. It
Right?
really is.
You gotta take it for today, and you gotta do what you can do today. You know, it is. And one of the things, I'm going to give you 3 words that put in
Yeah.
the right combination is
Yeah.
going to give you and your audience
Mm-hmm.
the ability, the ability to deal with a lot of stuff in life.
Mm-hmm.
Learn these 3 words
Mm-hmm.
and embrace them,
I'm ready.
because if you do, it's going to make you so powerful you won't believe.
Mm.
It is what it is.
That's what I say. It is what it
It
is.
is what it is.
It
That's
is.
embracing the fact that there are certain things. This I learned this from my father. He used to say,
Wow.
look, sometimes I used to complain about stuff,
Yeah.
and he used to say, look, can you do something to change it? Well, yeah, okay, go do it.
Mm.
Can you do something to change it? No, forget about it.
Wow. I
It's
love
like
it.
if you can't do anything to change it, then why are you worried about it?
So
You
easy.
can't do
I love
it. It is what it is. This
it.
is what. If I drink from this cup and this coffee is cold now, right?
Okay.
I have 2 choices. I either go dump it out, get a new cup of coffee, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or deal with what it is. If I
That's
can't do it, I have choices. It's
that's
always that simple choices in life. And it is what it is, empowers you because you accept the fact that there are things that are out of your control. You
mm.
can't control them.
Mm.
Worrying about the past, all
Mm.
it's going to do is give you depression.
That's right. I
You
love that.
can't change what happens in the past. Happened in the past is gone. You can't do it unless you're a time traveler, right? You can go in the past. Yes, you're Doctor Who. You can go in the past. You can't do anything about it. So
I
forget
want to
about it. Don't
watch
worry.
it
Right?
now. I love that. Yeah.
Right? Worrying about tomorrow, about the future. I'm not saying just abandon everything and say I'm not going to think about tomorrow. No, think about it, but you don't worry about it. If you
Mm.
think about tomorrow, you're going to get anxiety
Wow.
because you're always anxious. What's going to happen tomorrow? So you're going to be always anxious about it.
I don't. Yeah.
Think about today.
Right now.
What are you going to do in the next 15 minutes to further your agenda, to build your business, to build
Mm.
your relationship, to whatever it is you're trying to do? What are you going to do in the next 15 minutes?
That's right.
Right? Don't
Mhm.
worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about the next day. Don't worry about it. I'm not saying don't think about it. Don't plan for it. Set your goals, set your dreams and your goals in concrete,
Mm. Wow.
but set your plans in sand,
I love that.
because plans can change. The book that I'm releasing soon, I started
Yeah.
that 11 years ago.
Wow.
11 years ago. A
Yeah.
lot of things happen, and sometimes it had to go on the shelf. I had to take a back seat because other things happened.
Mm.
I'm not making an excuse about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have done something about it? Yeah. But something else kind of came along and that took a priority. And you have to sometimes prioritize things
That's right.
and deal with what's important at that moment.
Right.
But now is the time. I have a lot of things that are going on, a lot of initiatives that are going on, and but I'm not, I'm not going to go out there and just put everything out there, because it's sometimes it's, again, putting your plans in the sand,
Mm.
you know. But
I like
the important thing is that you have to remember that it is what it is.
that. I'm gonna remember that.
Stop
And
trying to just worry about everything.
yeah, I needed that because since I moved on my own, there was anxiousness, not high anxiety, but anxiousness. I don't know my next steps, so yeah.
Well, the reality is that
Mhm.
you can plan things,
That's right.
and you can do your best to meet those goals. And
Hmm.
sometimes things just, you need to take a different path.
Hmm.
And that's when you take a step back and you look and you take another step forward
Mm.
based on what you see. Self evaluation, looking the person in the mirror. Hey, look, you screwed up this one. What are you going to do next?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I definitely want to bring you back. I want to talk, if you're willing to talk more about your wife's disability and your challenges with that in your book when you come out with your book next.
yeah. My
Yeah.
my book is more of a how-to book.
Hmm.
10 steps to mastering the battles of the mind.
Mm.
10 steps that, I've done it. I've taken it, and it's just it. I didn't. There's, as you go, the more you can make it more. But I have found that people have sometimes challenges with complicating things.
Hmm.
If it's too many steps, people get shy away from it, and they lose their path. So I think
For
that
sure.
if they can take this 10 steps and it helps them along, then there is more that they can do. But I think some of that becomes more on a personalized level. So
Hmm.
if they want coaching in that respect, I can help them out with that,
Yeah.
but or direct them to someone who can help them out. But what's important is that, to understanding certain basic principles, because there's basics in everything.
Mm.
In everything there's basics.
Yeah.
You want to bake a cake, you need to have an oven.
Hmm.
You know, you need to have some flour. You need to have some basics. You need the sugar. You need the flour. You need the eggs to
Mm.
bake something, right? There's some basics you need in everything. You want to play baseball, you need a bat. You need a ball. You need a glove, right?
Yeah.
Basics. So if you have the basics, then at least you can move forward,
Wow.
and that's the case with everything in life.
It's true. There's so much to learn from you. You're leaving all your wisdom behind with us. It's going to outlive you when you go.
Look, if I can, here's the thing. Somebody posted the other on Facebook something the other day, and I kind of
Uh-huh.
put a little humor with it. They posted, said, "What do you want to remember it for when you die?"
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'd like to be remembered before I die, but that's a whole different story. You know,
Right?
I said I want to be remembered for being Iron Man, but that's
Wow.
already taken. That's already taken. So can't do that. Absence that, I like to remember it for having made the most impact.
Wow.
Okay, as possible. My friend, my mentor, that's one of my
Mm.
mentors, and him and I had very little contact, but whenever we had contact, I learned so much from him that lasted me years.
Mm.
Okay, Dexter Yeager, he was a man that had tremendous impact in the world, and
Hmm.
most people don't even know about him.
Hmm.
Most people don't know about him. He built the largest network marketing organization in the world, bar none.
Oh, wow. What's it
Hundreds
called?
of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the
Hmm.
world. And it wasn't because of just so much, you're talking about, it's not so much about just business,
Hmm.
but the nuggets that he shared, what he taught people,
Hmm.
is invaluable. One of the things that he taught was, you build your people and your people will build your business.
Wow.
And he was a really personable guy. He was out of Rome, New York. He dropped out of school at 7th grade. He had a family. He had seven kids. He built a business out of. He was a brewery truck driver out of Rome, New York, and he built a business that impacts the world even today through his children.
What is the business?
He's got a networking business, network marketing business, but the point of it is not so much the business. What I'm saying is that it's not about the business. It's not about the money. It's not about anything. It is about the impact of people who he touched by just basically talking and listening and teaching and giving the nuggets of wisdom away. Impacting in that way, not so much about business, but I was saying the business was a side effect. The degree of how growth of his business was the side effect of his personality, of what he did with people, because he cared more about the people than he cared about the business.
That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we hope to do, right?
And you're like my sister, because whenever we
hope to accomplish.
Because whenever we speak, that's the impact you leave on me, like how he did for you.
Well, look, like I said, if I can help one person. I remember when you wanted to do that video about suicide prevention.
Yeah, that was big.
I wasn't trying to impact thousands of people. But look, if I helped one person to pause that moment in life, to pause for that moment in life and think twice and reach out, that's an impact, because you never know who that person will become. You never know what that person will accomplish, right?
Yeah. It's incredible. I look forward to having you back on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be having a chai together with no chai, but that's okay.
With cold coffee and tea.
Hey, it is what it is.
Awesome. So are you going to be making more YouTube videos, Anoush?
I am working on that. The important thing is I don't want to make content for the sake of making content. I want to make content that matters.
That's right.
I want to put something out there that's going to help people, that somebody's going to watch it and listen to it and say, you know what, that helped me today. Maybe that doesn't help them that day, but at some point they're going to say, you know what, I remember that guy in the video. I don't even care if they remember it was me.
Yeah.
As long as they get the content, right? I made that a little video in this, a conversation with God.
Oh yeah. Right? Oh, that was amazing. I'm going to post that with this. That was an amazing video.
And that is because a lot of people go through life feeling that they are broken.
Wow.
That they're falling apart.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yeah.
They really aren't. It's a perception that they have. And when I made that content, when I made that video, that was a message that sometimes things are not what you think they are.
Deep. Yeah.
It's just, that's how you perceive it. And if you change the way you look at it, everything changes. Everything changes.
Yeah. Got to shift that mindset.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. You got to look at it. When you look at something and you change the way you look at something, everything changes. Yeah, it's one of those pictures that they used to have these pictures back a number of years ago. That when you stood and look at it head on, it looked like a bunch of just colorful dots mixed. It's just a jumbo, like somebody just put the dots over there. But if you change the way you looked at it, suddenly you see the picture emerge.
The picture, yeah, I remember them. Yeah,
it's the same thing. Life is like that. Life is like that. Yeah. And the influences we have in our lives from outside sometimes is family, and they have all the well-meaning people in your life who they don't want you to get hurt. Oh, Pratima, what do you do? What's this coaching stuff? You're not going to make any money at this. Oh, come on. You're going to sell cups? You know how many people sell cups? Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's
Woo!
not the cup.
It's not just the cup. That's right.
It's not the cup.
That's right.
At the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
it's what you do with the cup. You can take the cup
Mm-hmm.
and you can either pour poison in it,
Yeah.
or you can put a nourishing liquid in it that's going to help somebody
Mm-hmm.
live. You can put medicine in it, right?
Yes.
So
That's a great analogy. I wish we could go on for
yes,
long.
we could. And I think we have gone way over limit on
I
yours.
know. This is my longest live I've ever had, about 2 hours.
Wow.
I would honestly
I've monopolized your time.
What'd you say?
I've monopolized your time here.
I'm saying I would have kept it going to the full 2 hours if I didn't have another call at 7, but this is incredible.
Well, you need to take a breath in between.
I do.
Have a nice chai, take a break, eat something, take care of yourself.
Yeah, I am.
I truly appreciate the time that you've given me. You've given me far more than
Hey, I learned from you too. This is your mentoring, and giving value through this. And I had wonderful, beyond great conversations with every single person today. Kristen Brooke, Gunjani, I believe you checked her out, and then Miss Tanika Drake in the morning, and that just started off with fire. It was amazing.
Yeah, the thing is, you're 3 hours ahead of me. So if you start something in the morning, I probably won't see it until it's late in the day. It's too early for me.
Today was incredible. I mean, this is great. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to have been part of it. I'm glad to have shared something of value, hopefully, with your audience. I hope they took something of value away from it. I hope they.
Of course. And the gentleman who commented the big paragraph, his name is Randy. I remember now. So.
Well, I hope that he took something of value with him from this conversation. Yeah. So I appreciate your time. I'm sorry I monopolized your time for 2 hours. I need a break in between this somewhere along the line. I'm not going to do any more of it, so you better.
But this is great, and you don't do it often, so it's like a gift for all of us. So
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
With that, I wish you much success with your chai together. And if there's anything I can do to help you along,
I will give you a call so we can talk more. Yeah.
Not here. You know where to find me.
Awesome. Thank you, Anoush.
Have a great day. God bless.